Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today Fantasy Flight announced the next set for Star Wars Destiny, which is entitled Across the Galaxy. It's supposed to be coming out this November. There's some new mechanics in this set that we really want to talk about, and we got a bunch of spoilers today. So we're just going to go through the spoilers, going to let you know what I think of the cards, and one of the spoilers does feature a new game mechanic, which I'll discuss when we get to it. It's pretty awesome sounding. So first card up here we have is Eden Veriso, Inferno Squad Commander, 12 health, 12/15, Villain Legendary. So character, leader, and trooper, so both those subtypes, when cards actually start using those subtypes, she'll trigger on those. 2 range, 2 focus, discard, resource, and blank. And this is what I really love about this card. So while one or more of this character's character dice are in your pool, your opponents cannot take additional actions. So basically you roll her in, and action cheating can't happen, basically. And it's only your opponent. So you can still take additional actions, but basically I can see this being a huge counter to Sabine decks, because the Awakening cycle will be both of these. This will complete the Legacies block, basically. So until the set after this comes out, Sabine and all that stuff will still be legal and standard. I think this is a really good counter to Sabine. So basically your opponents are going to have to really focus on her, get her eliminated, so they can then start taking additional actions. That is huge. Let's see. Twos, so 2 damage sides, double focus as well. I can see her slotting into a lot of just like trooper builds. So you run her at 15, you then have 15 more points to build with. So you can maybe go like 2 first order stormtroopers, or something along the lines like that. Again, 12 health and 12 points, so we're hitting that 1-to-1 ratio again. And then the ability on her is just huge. So basically, no additional actions if her dice are in the pool. So looks like your opponents, if you roll her out, your opponents play an ambush upgrade, they won't be able to do the action on that ambush upgrade. So with Sabine, for example, let's say they throw a holdout blaster from their discard pile onto Sabine. That's part of her activation, so I believe she'll still be able to activate, but then she won't be able to immediately resolve it if the Veriso dice or a die of hers is in the pool. I think you want to run Eden at Elite, just because they then have to remove 2 dice to be able to take additional actions. If you run her at a single die, they can just easily remove the 1 and then action cheat out off of that. But Eden Veriso, so we have this is one of our red villain legendaries. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have TIE Fighter. So we haven't seen a new TIE Fighter since Awakening. So red villain vehicle support, 2 resources, 1 range, +2 range, 2 indirect, disrupt, resource, and blank, has ambush. And the cool ability with this is you can include up to 4 copies of the support in your deck. After you play the support, search your deck for a copy of it, reveal it, and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you play it, you then get to search for another TIE Fighter and put it into your hand. And it allows you to have 4 copies of it. So if you're running this in like a villain vehicle deck, you could run 4 TIE Fighters, play 1, search for 1, and then keep doing that. 3 damage sides on it for 2. Doesn't have a special like the First Order TIE Fighter did, which removed all shields. But again, we have a range, a modified range, and indirect. Disrupt and resource as well. Again, extra action after you play it, and then cool ability that you can include 4 of it, and then when you play it, tutor 1 out of your deck. So that is the new TIE Fighter. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Kit Fisto, Shicho Master, 11 health, 13 or 16 points, is a Jedi. 1 melee, 2 melee, 3 melee for a resource, 2 focus, resource, and blank. And before this character takes damage, you may remove one of his character or upgrade dice showing melee damage to block damage equal to the value showing on that die. So it kind of has like a weird guardian effect almost, or not guardian, guard effect, where you remove a die and you remove that many dice. This basically, if I have an upgrade, let's say like on a +3, and I don't have any base melee damage, I can just remove that +3, block 3 damage. That's going after him. So your opponents may not want to target him right away, because if they do, he has the ability to just pull um, either his character upgrade dice that show melee damage to block that damage. So that's a really cool ability, especially if it's something that you can't resolve or you maybe don't want to resolve. So let's say my opponent has 3 range showing, and they're going to resolve that, and I have the 3 melee for a resource with no resources. I can just remove that 3 melee and block that 3 damage. Or again, if I have a modifier on a modified side and no base damage, I can remove that modifier as long as it's showing melee damage to block whatever the damage is. I imagine you could also, if they resolve like a 4 melee and you use a 3, you then have 1 carry over. But this is a really cool ability. Kind of reminds me of Dooku's ability from Awakenings, where you can block damage by discarding cards. This allows you to block damage by removing dice. So, really interesting card here. Health is good. Points might be a little high if you want to run him at Elite, but maybe you run a single die of him and 17 points worth of other characters, and you basically just use him to block damage on him, and then if they're going to basically go after him, you can then just focus damage with your other characters. So I think your opponents are going to have to kind of think twice about who they want to attack if you're running Kit Fisto, because they know you'll be able to block at least some of that damage by removing dice. So that is Kit Fisto. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Into Exile. 1 resource, blue hero event. Play only if you spot 2 ready characters, exhaust 1 of your characters, then until the end of the action phase, block all non-indirect damage dealt to that character by your opponents. Set this event aside. So, basically play the beginning of your turn, basically. If you have your characters are all readied, you pay a resource, you exhaust a character. That character then cannot be damaged except by indirect damage for basically the entire round. So if you want to keep a character alive, let's say you're running like a 3-character deck, you exhaust your main character. You don't get to roll them out, but you'll at least be able to keep that character alive for that round, and then you potentially deal damage with your other characters. I can see this working with like a leadership deck. So you spot your 2 ready characters, you exhaust 1 of them, blocking all the non-indirect damage that will be coming out at that turn. You then exhaust like a red character with leadership to ready the character that you is now can't be damaged, and then roll that character out. So I can see this working out well in like 3 or 4 character decks. Again, with leadership, it might work well with 2. Like you exhaust a red unique to basically block and then reactivate your main character. So if you're doing like the old like Luke Akbar from Awakenings, you can play this, exhaust Luke. He's now not going to be taking damage unless you assign indirect to him. You then leadership Akbar and ready Luke again. So Into Exile seems pretty cool. So we're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have the triple laser turret. This one is the card that uses some new mechanics. So it's an upgrade weapon mod. 2 resources, 2 range damage, 3 damage for a resource, plus 2 range damage, 2 indirect, shield, blank. Again, modified vehicle support. Play this upgrade only on a vehicle support. While this die is in your pool, the attached support's die cannot be removed by your opponents. So this is kind of what it sounds like. It's an upgrade that goes onto supports. And according to the article, when you activate that support, you then roll in the mod die as well. So in the article, they used it with a TIE fighter. So they attach it to a TIE fighter. When you activate the TIE fighter, you roll in the TIE fighter die plus the triple laser turret. And then the ability on this one is if the triple laser turret is in your pool, the TIE fighter die can't be removed, or whatever vehicle you decide to throw it on. This is a neutral weapon. So basically, if you're playing like red-yellow, you can throw this onto like a Millennium Falcon, throw it onto like a Slave 1, and then when you roll either of those vehicles in, whatever is attached to that vehicle will roll in as well. So I imagine this one is all damage basically. So we have 4 damage sides. Sorry, excuse me, 4 damage sides, and the shield. But I imagine there'll be some that are going to be more utility, maybe like a tractor beam that lets you flip some of your other vehicle dice, or maybe your opponent's vehicle dice, stuff like that. But new gameplay mechanics to where you attach this to a vehicle, and now it's like when you attach a weapon to a character, you roll that character in with its character dice and the upgrade dice. This works the same way with vehicles. So throw it on a vehicle, both those dice roll in. So that is the triple laser turret. We're going to move into our next card. And next up, we have Han Solo Indifferent Hotshot. 11 health, 11 or 15 points, so we're running that 1-to-1 ratio again. Neutral Han Solo, so you can throw this in any deck. Really cool. 2 range damage, discard, resource, special, blank. He's a scoundrel and a pilot, so we'll get when cards come out that work with scoundrels and pilots, it'll work with him. Special, deal 2 indirect damage to an opponent. You may reveal a villain card from your hand to force an opponent to lose a resource. You may reveal a hero card from your hand to gain a resource. So, similar to Rivals Anakin, its special will do different things depending if you have villain or hero cards in your deck. So, this one, though, doesn't require you to discard it, you just reveal it. So, let's say I'm running Han in a villain deck. I do the special, deal a 2 indirect, show a villain card, and then force them to lose a resource. Or if it's in a hero deck, show a hero card, and I'll gain a resource. You can see this being really good in draft. So 11 points, same cost, or at least same single die cost as Ketsu. Let's see, I think 4 damage sides and a really cool ability. So basically, 3 damage sides that all do 2, and then the special does either gains a resource or disrupts a resource depending on what card you reveal. 11 health for 11 points. So again, we hit that 1-to-1 ratio with him. I'm really looking forward to trying to building decks with Han. I think at Elite you still have 15 points you can work with. You would be able to still pair him with Chewbacca. Not at Elite, of course, but you'd be able to use the single die Chewbacca. You can even go Elite Chewbacca, single die Han. I imagine we'll be hopefully maybe getting like a new Lando at some point. What I really want to see out of Solo for another neutral character would be Beckett. I think Beckett could be an interesting character for Destiny. But right now we have Han, and he is neutral, which is really cool. So starts off basically working for himself. Eventually rolls into being a hero. But I like that now they're giving us the ability to throw Han in a deck with some villains if we want. So that is Han Solo Indifferent Hotshot. We're going to move into our next card. And next up we have Indifferent Neutral Yellow Event. Spot a neutral character to remove a die. So we just saw Neutral Han. You can basically spot him, remove a die, or any neutral character. I can see this working really well in draft. So all the characters that you get in there are neutral. And if you're playing, let's say you're playing Ketsu or even like another yellow character outside of the draft set that also happens to be neutral, you can just spot a neutral character. Doesn't matter what color it is. As long as you spot that character, you get to remove a die. So 1 resource, spot a neutral, remove a die. Pretty cool. We're going to move into our next card. And the final card revealed today is the Black Sun Blaster Pistol. 3 resources, upgrade weapon, yellow neutral. 2 range damage, disrupt, resource, 2 specials into blank. While this upgrade is on a neutral character, it has redeploy. Special, deal 2 indirect damage to an opponent, then deal 1 damage to a character. So, special, you deal 2 indirect, and then get to hit 1 character for 1. Again, neutral card, I can see it working really well in draft. So you put it on one of your neutrals, that character gets defeated, and then gets redeployed. 3 damage sides, 3 resources. I think it's pretty good. So you have a 2 range, and basically 2 specials that will deal 3 damage over, 2 of it will be indirect, and 1 of it will be against a character of your choice. So, and then again, if it's on neutral character, it gets redeploy. So that is the Black Sun Blaster Pistol. There'll be a link in the description to where you can check out the article from Fantasy Flight. Again, this is for Across the Galaxy. Should be coming out in November. This is the final set in the Legacies block. I'm not sure if we're calling it we're basically calling it the block where the first set in the block becomes the block name. So Awakenings block, Legacies block. So set 3 of the Legacies block set to come out in November. Again, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As we get more spoilers, I'll be doing more and more videos for them. I don't think we're going to get a ton of spoilers anytime soon. So when Way of the Force was announced, they did one major article, and then it was several weeks, maybe even a month or so later, that we got another one. But when those come out, I'll definitely be doing videos for all the spoilers for Across the Galaxy. Again, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you again for watching, and take care.